If you listen to what I am about to tell you, you will probably open your refrigerator right away and rush to throw some things out. This discussion contains truths that hospitals and pharmaceutical companies will never tell you, truths that you might find uncomfortable. I am Dr. James Miller, an 87-year-old internal medicine specialist who has been working with patients for almost 60 years. For all that time, I have been searching for the root causes of various pains that many elderly people endure, believing they are simply due to old age. To my surprise, many of these causes were foods that people had firmly believed were healthy and ate every day. These foods break down an older person's body more subtly and quickly than sugar, and they do so in a quiet way. After the age of 70, the body's ability to digest and detoxify declines significantly. At this stage, certain foods become not just difficult to digest, but they start to act as toxins. They can cause sudden spikes in blood pressure and blood sugar, damage the stomach lining, cause inflammation, and sometimes even lead to fatal heart disease. The 5 foods I will talk about today must be avoided after the age of 70. Some of them may be in your kitchen, refrigerator, or on your table right now. I will explain in detail why these foods become toxic to an older body and what dangers they can cause. Do you eat these foods every day? If so, I'm curious to know what symptoms you've experienced. If you share your experiences in the comments before this video ends, it could be a great help to others. Lately, I've been feeling bloated, and my stomach is always upset. No matter what I eat, the diarrhea won't stop. A 79-year-old woman named Mrs. Archase Peterson came to my office one day. Mrs. Peterson was someone who took her health very seriously. She ate an apple every morning and never touched sweets. Her blood sugar and blood pressure readings were always normal. Despite this, she was suffering from unexplained abdominal discomfort, diarrhea, and a feeling of general weakness. Various tests were run, but the diagnosis was always the same. Nothing was wrong. She was told it was likely nerves or just old age. I asked Mrs. Peterson in great detail about her eating habits. A surprising cause was revealed: the very apple she ate every morning, and the various fruit and vegetable juices she drank for her health. After her mid-70 seconds, Mrs. Peterson's gut could no longer properly break down certain compounds called FODMAPs. The FODMAPs in apples and some vegetables would ferment excessively in her intestines, producing gas, irritating her intestinal lining, and causing diarrhea and inflammation. I advised Mrs. Peterson to change her diet and to eat fruits and vegetables in small amounts or to cook them. To my surprise, she returned just a week later with a bright smile, telling me her abdominal discomfort had disappeared and her diarrhea had stopped. The criteria for what is considered a good food changes as you get older. Please remember this fact. You'll only understand the full picture by listening to this story until the end. Have you ever considered that a food you eat for your health might actually be causing you discomfort? If you find this video helpful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. 5 foods that can break down your body after 60. Sprouted potatoes. The first food is sprouted potatoes. The sprouts and the green parts of a potato contain a natural toxin called solanine. Even a small amount of this toxin can cause vomiting, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. This is especially dangerous for people over 70 because the liver's ability to detoxify is lower than in younger people. Solanine is a natural substance in potatoes. When a potato sprouts, the amount of solanine increases dramatically. The toxin is not destroyed by heat, so even if you cook a sprouted potato, it remains dangerous. A 75-year-old man named Mr. Thompson peeled a sprouted potato to make a side dish. He thought it would be fine if he just cut out the sprouts. However, within a few hours of eating, he experienced severe abdominal pain and vomiting and had to be rushed to the emergency room. Fortunately, he recovered quickly with treatment, but it was a frightening experience that could have had serious consequences. When a potato has turned green or has sprouted, it's safest to throw it away entirely, no matter how much of a waste it feels like. To store potatoes, keep them in a cool, dark place away from light. To prevent sprouting, putting 1 apple in the bag with the potatoes can also help. as the ethylene gas released from the apple can inhibit the sprouting process and slow it down. Since the green parts of a potato can have solanine that seeps into the flesh, don't just peel it. It's better to cut out the affected area deeply or just avoid eating it altogether. Do you have any sprouted potatoes at home? Check right now. R. Frozen processed foods. The second food is frozen, processed foods. Convenient frozen meals, dumplings, and pizzas are loaded with excessive sodium. A single serving of many frozen meals can contain more than twice the daily recommended sodium intake of 2.0 milligrams. As we age, our kidneys' ability to excrete sodium declines, making it a major cause of swelling, high blood pressure, and heart disease. Excessive sodium intake also promotes the excretion of calcium from the body, increasing the risk of osteoporosis. A 72-year-old woman, Mrs. Lee, who lived alone, ate frozen meals every day. She tried to eat bland foods, but the hidden salt in frozen foods was hard to avoid. After a few months, her face and feet started to swell every morning, and her blood pressure remained high, leading her to seek medical attention. The cause was an excessive intake of frozen processed foods, and she was also diagnosed with early-stage kidney decline. Before you buy frozen foods, make it a habit to check the nutrition facts on the back of the package. It's best to choose products with less than 500 milligrams of sodium per serving. When you eat frozen dumplings or pizza, limit yourself to just 1 or 2 at a time. Even if a product says low sodium, don't just believe the label. Always check the nutrition facts yourself. When you eat frozen foods, do you pay close attention to the nutrition facts? San. Raw garlic. The third food is raw garlic. The pungent compound in raw garlic, allicin, has a major drawback. It severely irritates the stomach lining. This can cause gastritis or even stomach ulcers, especially in older adults over 70 whose stomach lining is already thin. Eating it on an empty stomach is particularly dangerous. Allicin also has a blood-thinning effect, which can be fatal for people at risk of bleeding. A 74-year-old woman, Mrs. Sanchez, ate a clove of raw garlic every morning on an empty stomach for her health. At first, she was fine, but after a few months, she started to suffer from severe heartburn and acid reflux. A medical examination revealed that she had advanced gastritis, and the cause was the raw garlic she ate on an empty stomach. Mrs. Sanchez was disappointed, saying she thought she was doing something good for her body, but it had made her sick instead. You must always cook garlic before you eat it. Cooking or steaming garlic can weaken the allicin, reducing the strain on your stomach and intestines. If you take blood pressure medication, eating too much raw garlic can cause your blood pressure to drop excessively, leading to a risk of hypotension. Also, if you have a surgery scheduled, you should consult with your doctor, as it can increase the risk of bleeding. If you have any stomach problems, it's best to avoid raw garlic entirely. Is there anyone here who eats raw garlic on an empty stomach? Noodles, rice cakes, and bread. The fourth category of foods is noodles, rice cakes, and bread. These are all made from refined carbohydrates. After the age of 70, saliva production decreases, and the activity of carbohydrate-digesting enzymes declines. As a result, noodles, rice cakes, and bread stay in the stomach for an unnaturally long time, greatly increasing the digestive burden and causing a rapid spike in blood sugar, raising the risk of developing diabetes. Also, because of their soft texture, people tend to chew them less thoroughly and swallow them too quickly, which can lead to choking. A 76-year-old man named Mr. Tanaka loved to eat rice cake soup, but every time he ate it, he felt bloated and suffered from suffocating indigestion. He initially thought it was because he was eating too fast, but he later learned that the lack of saliva and digestive enzymes meant the rice cakes weren't properly broken down and were just sitting in his stomach. Mr. Tanaka said he would spend sleepless nights after eating rice cake soup. When you eat noodles or rice cakes, try to cook them until they are very soft and cut them into small pieces. Make a habit of chewing them slowly and thoroughly. After a meal, instead of lying down, take a light walk or remain seated to help with digestion. It's also a good idea to eat them with vegetables and protein to balance your nutrition. If you frequently suffer from indigestion, it's best to reduce your intake of these foods. Don't eat noodles or rice cakes within 3 hours of bedtime, as the active digestion can interfere with a good night's sleep. Always make sure to have plenty of water or soup with these foods. Have you ever felt bloated after eating rice cakes? Woo! FODMAP foods. The fifth category is FODMAP foods. FODMAP is an acronym for a group of carbohydrates that are not well absorbed in the small intestine and ferment in the large intestine. Many foods known to be healthy, such as apples, pears, beans, onions, and garlic, are rich in FODMAPs. They are not a problem for young, healthy people, but after age health years, when gut function weakens, these compounds ferment excessively and cause gas, bloating, and diarrhea. This can inflame the intestinal lining and worsen irritable bowel syndrome, as in the case of Mrs. Peterson. Many older people in their 70s who ate an apple or onion every day for their health would visit the clinic complaining of intestinal discomfort. They believed these foods were healthy, but the compounds were irritating their intestines and causing chronic digestive issues. After learning this, Mrs. Peterson adjusted her diet and was finally able to regain her comfortable gut health. If a fruit or vegetable is high in FODMAPs, eat it in smaller quantities. You can reduce the digestive burden of apples by removing the peel and beans by soaking and boiling them thoroughly before eating. It is also better to cook vegetables well rather than eating them raw. If you experience symptoms like bloating, gas, or diarrhea after eating a FODMAP food, stop eating it immediately and observe your body's changes for about a week. If your symptoms improve, the food was likely the cause. Not all FODMAP foods are a problem for everyone, so you need the wisdom to adjust based on your own body's condition. Have you ever felt uncomfortable after eating more than 1 apple a day? 4. Principles for your diet after 60. The dangers of digestive aging. As you get older, your digestive system naturally ages, saliva production decreases, stomach acid secretion declines, and intestinal motility slows down. This means food stays in your stomach and intestines for a longer time. The problem is that the longer food remains, the greater the chance of toxic substances being created. For example, difficult to digest foods like meat or high-fiber foods can strain the stomach and intestines, leading to the proliferation of harmful gut bacteria. This doesn't just result in indigestion. It can lead to systemic inflammation and a weakened immune system. Digestive aging is more than just discomfort. It can also lead to poor nutrient absorption, which is a major factor in accelerating muscle loss and osteoporosis in older adults. No matter how good your supplements are, if your digestive function is poor, you won't be able to absorb their full benefits. Therefore, after the age of 60, you need to pay special attention to how you prepare, how much you eat, and when you eat foods that are hard to digest, it's a smart choice to cook foods until they are soft and to eat smaller portions. Have you had to change your diet as you've gotten older? The dangers of glycation. Have you ever heard of a process called glycation? This is a phenomenon where proteins in the body combine with sugars to produce toxins called advanced glycation end products. Oraches. These toxins stiffen blood vessels, reduce skin elasticity, accelerate aging, and are a cause of diabetic complications and dementia. AGEs are especially abundant in processed foods with high sugar content and in foods that are fried or grilled at high temperatures. For example, crispy French fries or brown toast are foods where glycation has occurred actively. Once created, these toxins are very difficult to break down. They stick to the walls of your blood vessels like a sticky glue, causing inflammation that can lead to fatal diseases like heart attack or stroke. When you're young, your body can detoxify AGEs on its own, but as you age, that ability declines significantly. So, after the age of 70, it's best to stay away from processed foods and sugary foods, and to choose cooking methods like steaming or boiling over frying or grilling. How often do you eat sweet foods or processed foods? Adjusting dinner time. At night, all of the body's functions switch to rest mode, including digestion. Stomach and intestinal movements slow down significantly compared to the daytime. So a late dinner puts an excessive burden on your digestion. When food stays in your stomach and intestines overnight, it can lead to the creation of toxins, as well as acid reflux and insomnia. For a healthy old age, it's a good idea to move your dinner time to before 5 p.m. It's also best to avoid eating anything at all for 3 hours before bedtime. Eating an early dinner allows your digestive system to rest fully overnight, so you can wake up the next morning feeling light and refreshed. Eating late at night is especially detrimental for older adults with GERD, as stomach acid can reflux into the esophagus when they lie down, causing severe pain and severely disrupting sleep quality. Sleep deprivation can lead to a weakened immune system and various diseases. Just by adjusting your dinner time, you can prevent many diseases and have a comfortable night. If eating an early dinner is difficult, a good alternative is to choose light foods like porridge or salad. What time do you usually eat dinner? The importance of staying hydrated. Our bodies are made up of 70% water. As we age, our sense of thirst can become dull, and our water intake tends to decrease. However, water is a fundamental part of our body's ability to excrete toxins and promote smooth blood circulation. It's a good idea to drink about 1.5 liters of water a day, spread out throughout the day. Drinking too much at once can strain the kidneys, so make it a habit to drink a glass of water when you wake up, before and after meals, and before bed. This is especially helpful for people with poor digestion or constipation. Dehydration is more than just feeling thirsty. It can worsen constipation, increase blood viscosity, and raise the risk of cardiovascular disease. Studies also show that since the brain is 75% water, a lack of hydration can lead to a decline in cognitive function and even increase the risk of dementia. So, drinking enough water is the easiest and most reliable way to maintain a healthy body. If you are someone who doesn't like water, you need to make a conscious effort to think of drinking water as a crucial habit that protects your body. Have you ever checked how much water you drink in a day? A new beginning for your health. I hope you will keep the 5 foods I talked about today in your mind. Sprouted potatoes, frozen processed foods, raw garlic, noodles, rice cakes and bread, and FODMAP foods. These are not just tasty foods. They put a great strain on the digestive and detoxification abilities of our aging bodies. This can lead to gastrointestinal diseases, high blood pressure, and sometimes even heart disease. What's scary is that foods you ate without a problem when you were young can become a silent poison as you get older, especially after the age of 60, as liver and kidney function declines. Your body can no longer properly process the toxins and excessive nutrients from these foods. This can lead to an inflammatory response, damaging blood vessels and organs. But there is no need to be discouraged. Our bodies don't lie. If you pay just a little attention and make some changes, your body will respond to those changes with surprising speed. I have witnessed these transformations firsthand in countless patients. I can never forget the case of Mr. Gude Watanabe, a 77-year-old man who had suffered from high blood pressure, chronic indigestion, and full body swelling for a long time. At first, he was resigned to his condition, thinking it was just old age. But he consistently practiced the dietary principles and habits I've discussed today for 3 months. The results were astounding. His blood pressure dropped by 10 points, and the indigestion he had lived with for so long disappeared. The heavy, sluggish feeling he always had went away as his body shed the swelling, and he lost 8 kilograms. What made him even happier than the weight loss was the return of his energy and his will to live. The lightness he felt when he woke up and the vitality in his steps completely changed his life. This was not the result of expensive medication or surgery. It was a miraculous change he created through his own awareness and practice. The biggest change for Mr. Watanabe was his mindset. He used to think that getting sick was an inevitable part of growing older, but now he has the conviction that he can regain his health through his own efforts. This conviction wasn't just empty comfort. It became a powerful driving force for him to continue his healthy habits. I have seen countless cases like this. People who started with a small change stand before me a few months later as completely different people. Foods they initially forced themselves to throw away, they later said they never wanted to eat again. The reason is simple. They can feel their bodies getting better. Their blood sugar becomes more stable. Digestion becomes easier. And waking up in the morning becomes a joy. This is no coincidence. You can be like Mr. Watanabe. It's not too late to start now. Your body is ready to thank you and respond to even the smallest changes. The most important thing is not to let the information you heard today remain just as knowledge in your head, but to take action immediately. Here are some simple, practical steps you can take starting today. Open your refrigerator and throw away any sprouted potatoes or old frozen foods. Make sure you always cook garlic and eat only half the amount of noodles or bread you normally would. Reduce your intake of FODMAP fruits like apples and pears and switch to fruits that are easier to digest. Move your dinner time to before 6 p.m. and avoid eating anything for 3 hours before bed. Finally, help your body excrete toxins by drinking about 1.5 liters of water a day, spread out throughout the day. Just by doing this, you will be able to feel for yourself how much your body changes in 3 months. Change doesn't come from grand plans. It starts with a very small choice. So, which of these foods will you throw away first? And what is the first habit you will change? Your healthy old age starts right now. In my next video, I'll talk about a special food that can delay the onset of presbyopia and protect your eye health. Stay tuned.